Okay, this is some help with spelling seventh chords. This is an old table back when Harry Potter was popular, but it still serves well for today. You can forget or not worry about the names here of the memory devices to help you remember these chords. But the rest of this is very important. 5 different chords with sevenths on them, which is a triad and another note that's a seventh up from the root, that we have to learn about, learn how to spell, learn how to recognize, learn how they function. And so we're at the beginning part here. Major sevens, dominant sevens, minor sevens, half diminished sevens, fully diminished sevens. That's the name of the chords. This here, these next two, tell you what their anatomy is. So a major seventh chord is a chord that has a major triad, right? Root third fifth is a major triad. And then when you go to the seventh, it's a major seventh above the root, which you can calculate backwards quickly by going down a half step. That's inversion theory from our intervals that we're learning. Okay? The minor 7 chord has a minor triad, root third fifth, and a minor seventh from the root to the seventh, which if you calculate backwards is a whole step down. Okay? And fully diminished 7th chord is a diminished triad, root third fifth, and a diminished 7th, which is when you take your major 7th and you squish it to make it minor, and then you squish it one more time down to make it diminished 7th from root to 7th, and you can calculate it downwards looking quickly, 3 half steps. Okay. This bottom column is really useful though, which is this. If you spell the C chord or the F chord with no sharps or flats, C, E, G, B, F, A, C, E, they automatically give you this, and that's very important to remember, that a white note, no accidental C chord or F chord up to the 7th is a major 7th chord. It's a major triad and a major 7th. The G chord, which was the dominant, which we have sort of missed these guys out though, but they're hybrids, major triad, minor 7, diminished triad, minor 7, okay? The G chord, G, B, D, F, is a major triad and a minor 7th, okay? D, E, and A were minor triads to begin with, and surprise, if you add their 7ths onto them, D, F, A, C, etc., they are naturally minor 7th chords having a minor triad and a minor 7th. B has got the diminished triad, B, D, F, and then A is a minor 7th above. No fully diminished 7th chord exists without some kind of accidental sharp or flat somewhere to help, usually on the 7th, lowering that further. Okay? So we can apply that when we do a worksheet here. Now, this is a worksheet that you need to download and has a couple examples right there. And then there's some more practice for you to do. And that will be due for Friday. Okay? So it says, look, if I'm going to spell an A7, which means A dominant 7 chord, okay, that's the symbol for it, just nothing, then I have to spell the basic chord, which is ACE. There's my triad right there. And then G, that's my 7th right there. So I remember that I need to have a dominant chord has a major triad and a minor 7th. So I'm going to spell my triad first. ACE is minor, I make it AC sharp E, so major. So we've got this part taken care of, okay? And then I say, remember that dominant chords, remember I'm looking back at this table right here, have to have a minor 7th, which is a whole step down from the root. A up to G is a minor 7th, which is a whole step down. So it's already good to go. So the answer for this is A, C sharp, E, and G. A7 or A dominant 7. Here's another example. B minor 7 means minor 7 chord. First off, you need a B, D, F, A. Those are the notes, basic ones. And then you have to say, well, this is diminished, but minor chords need a minor triad, so I'll make it B, D, F sharp, which is a minor triad. And then I have to remember that minor chords have minor 7s. A whole step down. B down to A or B up to A is a minor 7th, which is a whole step down, so we're already good. B, D, F sharp, A. Okay? Let me take you through this next one. It's a little more complicated. And then you can work on the rest of them. If you don't remember something, refer back to this table here. I will also put up an answer key. Don't cheat. Do the work, then go back and use the answer key to confirm your work or to teach you what you didn't know or weren't sure of. So I want G half diminished 7th. So I got to go G, B, D. There's my triad. And F is my 7th right there. Okay? I need to know what kind of triad is in a half diminished 7 chord. If you don't have it memorized yet, you come here and you look, say half diminished 7 has a diminished triad. So I'm going to take my GBD and turn it into a diminished triad. So that's G, B flat, D flat. Okay, lowered the 3rd and the 5th. All right, then I need to know what kind of 7th I need. Well, I need to have a minor 7th, which is a whole step down. If I go from G down to F and I calculate that on the keyboard, or I just remember my interval theory, that is a whole step down. That's a minor 7th. So I'm good to go with that, right? So my answer when I assemble them is G, B flat, D flat, F. Okay? All right, you get to do some more of those. There's 2 pages of them. Notice that none of these require shifting or painting all the sharps or flats onto the notes for like an F sharp major 7 or an A flat major 7 or something. That will come afterwards with time. Okay, so get the basics down. Learn the anatomy for the names of each of the chords. Learn what the chords are in their white form state so that you know how to modify them from there. And then do this. It'll be due on Friday. And there'll be an answer key that goes up so you can check to make sure you did your work correctly. All right. Now, before we leave that, we'll do one other worksheet that you need to do as well. It's just an intervals primer. It takes us through each of the steps, and hopefully you've we had our Zoom lecture and then you look through the other video. And so here's how you do this. It says, first off, just name the interval number. And there'll be an answer key for this too, so you can check and make sure you're doing that right. So remember, the big trick here is to not forget to count the first number as 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or root 3rd, 5th. So that's a 5 right there. Okay? And you go through all of it and you just name the number. I'll do this next one with you right here. It's 1, 3, 5, 7. But if you were smart using your interval theory, you'd take this G up there like that. And you'd say that's a second. So when I bring it back down, right, that has to be a 7 right there. Don't worry about major, minor, augmented, diminished, perfect, that kind of thing. That's not the step. Okay. Next one. Circle any of these that make a minor second. So remember, this is the rule that all seconds are major seconds except for E to F and B to C. If there's no accidentals or the accidentals are the same. If there's accidentals, then you have to change and modify. Remember, if it gets bigger to a whole step, it's going to be a major second. And if it gets smaller from a major second, it's going to be a minor second. This says check, click circle any measure with a minor second and put a check above anyone with a major second. So let's take a look here. A to B is not E to F or B to C. It's got to be a major second. And if you looked on your keyboard down here, you'd see that A to B is a whole step, right? Okay. Although we're trying to get away from always referencing the keyboard. So it says it's a major second. So we're just going to put a check mark there. Okay. F down to E. Well, that's the E to F half step, isn't it? So well, not a box, a circle. Sorry, like that. Okay. Here, we'll do this one and then I'll let you do the rest. It's tricky. It's C down to B flat. Well, C down to B is one of those half steps or minor seconds, but it's not a minor second because then the B flat pulls it down further. Was a minor second, is now a major second, another half step bigger. So we would put like that right there. Again, finish off the row using the same kind of technique. This is thirds. Remember that if a third is part of a major triad, it's a major third. All the other triads give you a minor third. Okay, so let's take a look at this. D, F, root third, right? Sorry, the root and third of the chords, right? So this is part of a D minor triad. D, F, A, it's not a major triad, so this is going to be a minor third. Okay, B, G, well, we have to go backwards. G, B, no accidentals. G, B, D, root third, that's part of G chord, which is major, so that's a major third. And then here, let's take a look at this. C to E, flat. Well, C is part of the root third, CE is major triad, major third. So if there was nothing there, C and E, it would be a major third. But because it's E flat, it got smaller, and minor is smaller than the major. So this is now a minor third. Okay, there you go. All right. finish that row. And this one is the fifths one. All fifths from triads, where you got the root in the fifth, right, is a perfect fifth, unless it's the B, D, F triad. B to F is smaller, that's diminished. So we check it and see if it's a B chord, and if it is, it's diminished, and if it's not, it's perfect. But then we have to also account for accidentals that happen. So C up to G is part of the CEG chord. It's not diminished, there's no accidentals. That's a perfect fifth right there, like that. Okay, here's GBD, which would normally be perfect, right? Because it's not the B chord, G to D. But we have GBD, perfect, but then it's D flat. So it got smaller, and when you make a perfect interval smaller, it becomes a diminished, right? By the way, if you use the degree sign, that's fine too. And so on. You just go through. Ask yourself, is this a B chord? If it is and there's no accidentals, B to F, then it's diminished, it's smaller. If it's not, then it's perfect. All the other triads make a perfect fifth from root to fifth. Except if you have an accidental, then you have to modify and say, did it get bigger? Did it get smaller? Perfect is perfect, bigger than perfect is augmented, smaller than perfect is diminished. And there'll be an answer key for that. Okay? Hopefully these training videos on how to do this have helped, and the exercise amount is just right for getting you started to internalize, memorize, and master these. Next week, well, actually for the weekend, we'll start getting into more complex chords and things.